Commission of Inquiry, Ayawaso West Urban by-election event. Presiding is Commissioner Justice and Short. With him are Commissioners Professor Henrietta Sarpong and Patrick Martin Champong. The sitting for today, the 19th day of February 2019, is in session. Please, what do you swear by? The Bible. Do hereby swear on the cross that the evidence I shall give before the Commission of Inquiry shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Please be reminded that by the oath you have taken, you have made a promise to speak the truth, and failure to do so constitutes an offense for which you will be liable to punishment.
In all, we deployed 428 police personnel, as well as 341 immigration personnel. Total 769. The combined force of the police and the immigration.
Very well. Now, did the 428 police personnel include the commanders within the constituency?
It includes some of the commanders whose names were mentioned. Because the commanders include a divisional commander who will not place himself on paper, but he takes charge or perform duty, but his name will not be recorded on paper.
Why is it so?
That is how it is done, because anything that is done within your area as a commander, you are part of it.
So then you're putting it on record that some of the commanders within the Ayawaso constituency were not given specific rules. Is that it?
Specific in terms of go to this place, no. But general. General rule.
So once again, you are putting it on record that though they were not given specific rules, they were expected to play general rules. Is that it?
That is so. But it is not all of them. Because in the case of East Legon, his name was submitted. Means that when your name was submitted, you were assigned a specific role to perform. And when your name is not submitted, you perform the general task.
By East Legon, do you mean the district commander?
The district commander.
What specific role was assigned?
He was to be deployed as a patrol officer. That is, officer to lead a patrol team.
He was to be. Was he actually deployed to perform those duties?
No, he didn't report at the time I was leaving to the police stations. So he might have come after me, or he didn't come. By the time that I was leaving, he was not in to be deployed.
Had he been given prior notice before the day?
Can you speak slowly so that the recorder can capture every statement that you make?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. You say that you're going too fast.
DCOP, the commander of East Legon district, was he given a prior notice as in his role?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
How was that done?
Mr. Chairman, I communicated to him on mobile phone. I sent him a message. And I have it here.
Very well. Now, let the record capture this. That at 9:57 on the 30th day of January 2019, a WhatsApp message was sent to ASB stroke Mr. George. George Asari, East Legon District. And it reads, "Good evening. Report at RHQ at 0500 hours to join other officers and lead a patrol team. All district commanders are to let their drivers bring their pickups at exactly 0500 to be assigned for patrol." Now, was there a response to
There
this
wasn't.
message?
There wasn't. Mr. Chairman, if I may add, there is another officer as the Accra Central District officer. I sent him the same message at the same time, and he responded, which I have it here.
Now, let the record reflect that on the 30th of January 2019, at 15:56, a WhatsApp message was sent to Superintendent Bonsu, Accra Central District, and it reads, "Good evening. Report at RHQ at 500 hours to join other officers and lead a patrol team. All district commanders are to let their drivers bring their pickups at exactly 0500 to be assigned for patrol." Let the record also capture that at 16:23, the same day, a response was sent, and it reads, "Okay, my boss." Let the record also reflects that at 16:48, a response was sent which said, "Thanks." Now, Chief, will you be surprised if I tell you that the commission has been given evidence here that the East Legon commander, for instance, was sidelined? Will you be surprised?
Lord, I will be surprised, and therefore let me show to this commission a signal which was brought from from the Airport Divisional Command. I have it here.
Can the commission keep a copy?
Yes, you can take it.
Now, Chief, this signal of which you have given the commission a copy, what specifically is in it?
Lord, it is names of personnel who was sent to the region by the airport division for the by-election duties. And the East Legon district commander's name is captured. He is the first on the list of East Legon personnel who were sent to the region for duties.
Very well. What about those who were not assigned specific roles? Is there any special reason for that?
Mr. Chairman, those who were not assigned specific role, as per my operational order, instructed NIMA and Airport Divisional Headquarters to deploy within their area.
Now, you have told this commission that on the day you had over 400 police officers and some immigration officers. These two groups of agencies, how were they coordinated?
Mr. Chairman, we had a joint briefing on the 30th for the police and immigration officers. I briefed them jointly. An immigration officer also was allowed to brief them. We agreed that their standby men should be at immigration headquarters, whilst the police standby men were also at the regional police headquarters. There was communication always between the two heads, that's the immigration and police. And we deployed them jointly and made them aware that they are working as a team for a common goal. So there was nothing like, I'm working for the immigration or I'm working for the police. So there was good communication, good coordination between the police and the immigration as far as the exercise was concerned.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. If I heard you right, what you are saying is you did not set up one headquarters.
No, for the election, it was the regional headquarters, which was the operation center. But for their standby men, we agreed that for comfortability's sake, they can be at their headquarters where they have their own offices. But there was always the communication between the two of us.
DCOP, if you say regional headquarters, which one are you referring to? Is it police or immigration?
That's it. Regional headquarters here means our police regional headquarters as the head of the operation center. But they went to their base.
Now, what was the chain of command?
The regional commander was the head as far as the exercise was concerned. But I operated also to Director General Operations, who also reported to the Inspector General of Police. As for the elections, the by-elections.
Who had the ultimate responsibility for security of
On the ground, it is right.
Now, was there a break at any point in chain of command?
There wasn't.
But then, has it come to your attention that there were incidents of violence at some places within the constituency?
Yes, at a place, yes. It came to my notice.
If you say at a place, because there are reports of various incidents, at least I can count 3. So which one are you referring to?
The only one that came to my notice was at the Bawaleshi school.
Yes. What happened at La Bawaleshi school?
We monitored on the FM radio stations. They complained that there were shooting incidents at the place. The police radio set also came up with the same story. And I made a dash to the place to see what was happening.
Now, before we come to your dash, didn't you have men on the ground?
We have men on the ground, but every police was 3. Some places were 4, and the 4 were too many. The 3 were not too many, they were very few. So for every polling station, 4 men, either 2 policemen, 2 immigration, or 3 plus 1. Either 3 police, 1 immigration. So the list was 3.
DCOP, were your men not supposed to be giving you minute by minute report of the happenings within the constituency?
The operation was done in such a way that, apart from the men on the polling stations, at the polling stations, we also had officers and men at the electoral areas. The electoral areas means that from the electoral commission's sheet, he had 6 electoral areas. Then we also sat down and said that for the sake of effective patrolling, we divided the electoral areas into 11. So for every electoral area, we have at least 2 officers plus 8 men in a car, so that they can effectively patrol each electoral area. And so some of them had about 8 police stations, 7 police stations, which made them easier to patrol. So they were the first people to be reported to. Then apart from this group, we have the general patrolmen who had no barriers. They moved from wherever to any part within the constituency for patrols. So the men on the ground wouldn't have reported to me direct. They would have reported to any of this patrol team before getting in touch with me.
And if they had reported to the patrol team, at which point would they have gotten to you as the man on top of security for the day?
The patrol team will have reported back to me, because the patrol team, in each patrol team was an officer. So the officers have my contact. The officers we have been dealing with on a daily basis, and therefore very easy for them to get in touch.
Will it be immediately or sometime after, and if so, when?
Yeah, it will be immediately.
But according to you, only pick your signal from the radio stations.
And the police radio set.
And the police radio set. Very well, DCOP. At what point after the incident did it come to your attention?
It was some time after, because when I was on the way to the place, then the East Legon district commander called me and told me of the incident. So I told him that I was on the way going to the place. And he responded that he was on the way sending his child to the hospital. So I got to the East Legon police station when he was not there. It was the divisional commander I met who led me to the scene.
Is it part of your standard practice that when an incident of such nature occurs, you will have to be escorted by the local police to the scene?
Yes, you must get to the nearest police station where the incident might have been reported before you move to the scene.
What if the incident has not been reported yet, but you picked your signal, as you said, from the police radio as well as national radio stations, and as the head of security, you decided to proceed to the area? Now, you agree with me or not? Wouldn't it have been prudent to have dashed straight to the scene?
No, that would be very dangerous.
Why?
Because, and especially because it was also closer to the police station, you need to find out from the police what action they have already taken at the incident.
So, you went to the East Legon police station, had the assistance of an officer. What did you do thereafter?
So I was led by him to the scene where I met the crime scene people. So I followed them and we moved around. But I moved around with them not as an expert. They are crime scene people. They process the scene. But I observed what the scene was.
Now, can you share your observation of the scene with the commission?
Yes, I was sent to the house of the NDC parliamentary candidate, which is not far from the Bawaleshi school where polling was taking place. And there was some blood on the ground. There was a container which all the people around said, and you saw a mark. There was a hole which they said that it was a gunshot. We created that hole in the container. But the place was calm before I got there, and voting was in progress.
You said you saw a hole.
Yes.
Only one hole.
On the container, yes.
Only one hole.
On the container.
Very well. Now, have you subsequently received calls to be written or written an after incident report of the shooting incident?
No, from there, I went to the national headquarters to meet the IGP. But I met delegates of the NDC who were in a meeting with him. So I joined the meeting and he promised them that the incident would be investigated by the National CID. So they took over the matter. So if there had been any incident report, it will be sent to the National CID because it has them to take over the incident for investigations.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Would it not be standard practice for the after incident report to have emanated from your commanders on the ground to you, then to the national?
No. Once the IGP gave direct instructions for the CID to take over right and then, means that everything came under their control.
Now, there are reports that some of the politicians, and to be specific, I'm referring to the NDC chairman, on a Joy FM interview on the 31st of January 2019, said that the previous day they received an intel, and by intel, I believe he meant intelligence, that some people were going to that area or were coming to that area to cause problems. Has that come to your attention?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Very well. And did the police receive any intel?
Not the police I deployed, to my knowledge.
And you wouldn't know if generally, as the regional commander, if the police received such intel?
No. Nothing of that nature came into my notice.
Besides deploying men to man the polling stations, what specific measures did you put in place to check occurrences of violence and prevention?
I thought of two teams. The electoral patrol team, which was the immediate team to support the polling stations and make sure that they were protected and the polling stations were also secured. I also talk of the general patrol teams, which have no boundaries. So they were also the ultimate for support to the electoral teams as well as the polling stations. So these measures, I think, was enough and adequate to make sure that polling was successful.
Polling was successful, but then in the constituency, there was some violence. Am I right?
Yes, but it was not polling. It was not about polling. It may have been about different things, but not about people who have queued to vote, and there was some misunderstanding among or between them. It had nothing to do with ballot box. It has nothing to do with verification, which is part of the polling process.
Now, DCOP, are you saying that as far as electoral security was concerned, you were successful? Am I right?
Yes, it was adequate.
Very well. And as far as that was okay, the other things didn't matter?
The other thing, unless you know of it, because you cannot anticipate any other thing, when you put in measures to make sure that people who want to go and vote are protected, are secured, and have the right to go and vote.
Chief, you are aware, aren't you, that in this country, most of our by-elections have been characterized by violence. Are you or you are not?
Yeah, I'm aware.
You are aware?
Yes.
Very well. And you could not anticipate that this could be another flash area and make provision for that? Is that what you are saying?
Like the measures I put in, protected the two party, let me say the NPP and the NDC supporters from engaging in any clash. And that, I think, wasn't the situation. So therefore that our measures that we put in place made sure that there was no clash between party supporters to disturb or disrupt the election process.
In the constituency, besides the voters, were these other important individuals, and I mean the parliamentary candidates. Now, you could not anticipate that there could even be a clash between the parliamentary candidates, or there will be an attempt to attack any of them.
No, but there wasn't a clash because, like I said, the measures in place was enough.
Because from what we've heard so far, the NDC candidate, for instance, did not have police protection. Am I right?
Was it for his personal or because my
Personal.
information?
With the history of violence we have as far as by-elections are
concerned, one would have expected you to anticipate such violence and at least make security available for candidates, for instance.
What do you say?
Mr. Chairman, the security that we put in place at every polling station, supported by the electoral teams, was enough to protect everybody who was minded to be at the polling station and to vote. Because the NDC parliamentary candidate that we are talking of was not attacked by the people who had lined up to vote. So therefore that we put in adequate measures to make sure that if you intended to vote, you were protected and to vote.
Correct me if I'm wrong. What I'm getting from your answer, as people were sick in the police stations, your job was done and you were okay. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, election security is about making sure that people who wanted to vote are given a chance to vote. So that is what we also put in place, that whoever came closer to, whoever that he wanted to vote, was freed. As for violence, we said no violence. There should be free, fair, and peaceful elections. And that was what we worked towards. That was what we prepared for.
There were incidents of violence.
There was incident at only that place, because like I keep saying, there was no incident elsewhere, apart from that Bawaleshi and around where the parliamentary candidate lives.
DCOP, has it come to your attention, for instance, that a member of parliament was assaulted near a polling station? Has that one come to your attention?
Yes, I've watched it on the telly.
Watched it on the telly. So your men have not reported that to you as the Greater Accra Regional Police Commander.
I said the police radio gave her this information of the incident, and the IGP directed Director General CID to take over the case for investigations. So we at the Greater Accra region is not doing any investigations, because we don't have to do power investigations, as the headquarters is doing investigations.
You are the regional commander.
That's true.
You are in charge of the region.
That's true.
You have your men on the ground.
Correct.
Your men are supposed to know the constituencies very well. Am I right? Since it's their area of jurisdiction. Right.
Not every man, because we deploy them. We have men as far as Wuja,
By your men, I'm referring to
the police.
the various police commanders.
Commanders,
within.
yes. Because, yes, for commanders, yes.
And all the districts do have investigators. Am I right?
Every district, yes, we have.
So what would be the reason why such an important investigation encompassing your region, the divisions, the district, investigation is taken away from you?
It is not only in this case that investigation is taken from anywhere in the region for headquarters. Even in cases where incidents are being investigated. Headquarters is the ultimate. They come for the docket and they continue investigations. So it is not only in this situation. In many other cases. And headquarters has always been the ultimate. So once the IGP has directed General CID, who has not also refused, that becomes the end of the day. You don't have to.
DCOP, help us here. Ordinarily, what would be some of the reasons why National would take over such investigations? Ordinarily.
No, it depends. In some cases, the reasons will be assigned. In other cases, no reasons assigned. Once they are the ultimate, that is it.
In the cases where reasons have been assigned, what were some of the reasons?
It may be that a petition has been made against the investigations, and that is all.
Will it be a question of mistrust?
I won't say no. Because in other cases, they will not come for it. So it depends.
Now, there is another report that one of your officers who were to man a polling station at Prisons JHS was attacked. Has that come to your attention?
No, it hasn't.
On the day, there's been reports of some masked, brown uniformed men patrolling the constituency. Has that also come to your attention?
They are not part of the policemen I deployed.
Has it come to your attention to begin with?
Yes.
At what point did it come to your attention?
After the incident.
So, what you are saying is that until the incident, you had no knowledge whatsoever
No,
of men who did not belong to any of the units you have deployed patrolling in your region,
no.
in one of your divisions, in one of your districts. You have no knowledge.
Mr. Chairman, no. I was doing patrols myself and I never came across the people that you are describing.
DCOP, you will agree with me that as the man in charge of the region, please, your men were expected to pick a certain intelligence of elements that are not part of your unit within any part of the constituency. What do you say?
No, I won't agree with you.
DCOP, if that is your answer, then I am suggesting to you that these men could have done anything and run out of the constituency before it came to your notice. If that's what you're saying, what do you have to say?
I won't agree because it has been said that they were from national security. So if policemen from national security are working, a policeman from one unit have no power or authority to stop him or do anything with him.
At what point did it come to your attention that these men are from national security?
And when the incident happened, it was aired on the on the TVs and people were discussing, and I got to see them. Because throughout my briefing, throughout my patrols, I never encountered them.
And that is where the problem is. My question was about before the incident.
No.
Before the incident, they could have done anything and gotten away without you or any of your men knowing.
But before the incident, I wouldn't have known, or any of my men would have known that men from other units, outside the people we met and deployed and briefed and deployed, were going to patch or were going to come to town. So in that case, we wouldn't have known.
has been told by the Director General in charge of operations that according to the police, vigilante groupings in the country belong to political parties. Do you share that opinion?
Yes, I do.
You do. Now, DCOP, for how many years have you been a police officer?
Since 1984, that's 35 years.
Very well. So then that makes you a very experienced officer. Am I right?
Yes.
Very well. Now, from your experience, what do you think will be the causes of this prevalence of vigilante groupings, from your experience?
My reason may not be the reason for their existence. Because politicians have said, oftentimes, that they have formed these groups to protect them. As to whether that is genuine or not, it is for them. They are the politicians, and they have formed the groups. By the end of the day, everybody condemns that it is not a healthy situation.
So besides what the politicians say, you wouldn't be able, as DCOP, who has been an officer for over 30 years, tell this commission what you think some of the reasons are. I believe we still remember our question.
It's a personal reason why I think.
Yeah, some of the causes. That is, if you know, if you don't, sorry.
Some of the causes. For some boys,
What will cause?
for some boys, it is a means, or let put it, employment. Some have little or nothing to live on. So when they get people closer to, they use them for all kinds of things. And once they get support from them, it's good for them. So there may be valid reasons depending on the person and also the person at the other end.
Now, you have told this commission that you think the politicians say they use these men for their personal security. Am I right?
Yes.
Why do you think, if you don't have an answer, it's all right, the politician will consider using someone who is not security trained to take care of his security?
That's what they say.
Very well. DCOP, there is also this perception that politicians in opposition do not trust the police. Have you heard?
Yeah, that is true.
And according to them, the police service is at the whims and caprices of the government of the day. Have you heard that?
Yes, that is why when in government, they trust. Because when they are not in government, they don't trust.
Why do you think when they are in government they trust, and when they are not, they do not?
The fact is, when they are in government, they have certain influence over the police. So when out of government, they don't have it. They become afraid and apprehensive. That the powers that they use when they were in power and had, they also be used against them. So they are afraid of their own shadows. Or
What do you think, with your experience, as a country, we can do to take off the influence the politician in power has over our police service?
In my personal view, as Sarpong, I'm not speaking as a policeman,
Very well.
politicians should do politics and allow security men to do security work. I don't know how possible and how feasible that would be. So if the politicians take themselves off of security and allow the security men to do their own work without any letter of hindrance, then I think with time, if it is to be sustained, everything will be well.
Very well. DCOP. Have you put
Any proactive measure in place to check within your region these or the activities of the vigilante groupings or political militiamen?
This is a national affair. And whatever becomes national affair, it is national headquarters that deals with it, calls it to meeting, we sit down together. So it is an issue which is before national headquarters.
Chief, since you are not shy of giving personal opinions, what do you think can be done to check the prevalence of vigilantism in this country?
I think last week, the IGP had a press briefing, which we all attended. Some of us attended. And he made it clear to all political parties that they should disband all vigilante groups. If the advice is well taken and they do, that will be the only and the biggest solution to the problem.
So what you are saying is the onus lies on the political parties. Am I right?
Yes, and he also empowered the police wherever that they are. And anytime they commit any crime, they should not associate with any party. Deal with them as we have to deal with any criminal.
Now, do you have any measures in place, for instance, to pick intelligence of the activities of these political militiamen or vigilante groups before they engage in some of these atrocious activities?
Yes, always we have our detectives, we have our intelligence men in town. It's nothing for information and intelligence. They are always in town and not looking for intelligence only on vigilantism, but all other things that can bring about an unhealthy situation in the country.
Very well. Thank you, DCOP.
Mr. Chairman, your witness.
DCOP, you said that so far as the by-election was concerned, all activities and operations were under your command.
That's true, Mr. Chairman.
And you said that you had a briefing, the police and the immigration. There was a joint briefing
That's so.
by the police and immigration.
That's so, Mr. Chairman.
There was not any other agency involved in the briefing.
No.
Are you aware that some of your officers belong to the National Security SWAT team?
So the officers who belong to the National Security SWAT team
Yes.
are not the personnel who are in the region, under the command of the regional commander.
Who are they answerable to? The police officers who are part of the National Security SWAT team.
They are with the national security. And we have no dealings with any of them. Don't know what they do, they don't report to we who are on the ground, and everything that they do is confined to the national security.
Okay, on this day, on the 31st of January, it did not come to your notice that the National Security SWAT team were going to have an operation nearby the polling station at the Bawalashi polling station.
No, Mr. Chairman, not at all.
You were not informed.
Not at all, Mr. Chairman.
Is that a usual practice?
Mr. Chairman, because they operate on their own without reference to the regional command, he didn't know anything about them. Because if there had been information that there was a need to do an exercise, we were more prepared to have done it. At this, that they didn't come to the notice of the regional command that they would be in town and for whatever purpose.
Even though the operation was going to take place close to a polling station, you were not informed?
No, Mr. Chairman, not at all.
And you don't think it would have been prudent for you to be informed about this operation?
Mr. Chairman, even the exercise that they were going to do, if they have even handed it over to we, the regional command, we could have done it. But we didn't know anything about them until we heard of what has happened.
So in effect, what you are saying is that there is no collaboration between national security
And the regional command?
and the regional command.
Not at all.
Is that helpful for the security of this country?
I don't think so, Mr. Chairman.
What about the IGP?
The,
To your knowledge, would he be aware of operations of the national security team?
he may be aware, and I say so because he attends national security meetings. So I don't know if it may be discussed there. But the regional commander don't attend national security meetings.
And you are saying that on the 31st of January, your men did not come to know that a national security SWAT team were engaged in an operation near one of the polling stations.
Not at all, my lord, Mr. Chairman.
They
Not
were
at
not
all.
aware.
They were not aware.
They did not come to their notice.
Not at all.
Now, you said the East Legon district commander was given an assignment. He was supposed to be part of the electoral task force, right?
That's right. To lead the patrol.
And he was supposed to bring his vehicle with his driver.
That's true. And it wasn't him alone. It was all the districts in Accra who were sent copies of signals that they should bring or release their pickups for the election duties.
And you have heard his testimony that he was, as counsel put it to you, he was sidelined.
Yes, my lord, but that is not true.
Okay, since then, have you queried him or asked him why, first of all, why he did not respond to your message? You said you sent him a WhatsApp message, to which you got no response. That his evidence that he was sidelined is incorrect. Since then, have you had any communication with him about why he did not respond to your WhatsApp message, and also his testimony before us that he was sidelined by you, the regional commander?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the next day when the election was going on, and he reported the incident to me, I told him that he should be there to take care of the situation because it fell within his command. So he should take care. If you have come, you have deported him. But because I left before his arrival, and when he reported the incident to me, I told him I should take care of the situation. That's the incident.
So what I'm saying is that, have you queried him as to why he did not respond to your WhatsApp message? And also, have you found out from him why he stated before us that he was not included in the team that was supposed to monitor the elections?
No, Mr. Chairman, whatever he came to state, I haven't met him to discuss anything with him. So I have not met him when he came here and after he left here.
Now, when you got information about the incident, the shooting at the polling station, you said you went to the scene. You got the division commander to accompany you to the scene. Right?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
At what time did you get to the scene?
Mr. Chairman, it took me about 30 minutes before I got to the scene.
What time? Do you remember what time you got there?
I can't be very exact.
Give me an approximate
It
time.
was in the morning because I was going around the polling stations, and at every polling station, I make sure, checking the number of people who have deployed there, that they were all there, and I take. So I was marking from police station to police station. When I had the information and I left, I discontinued that one. I got to the place. It took me about 30 minutes.
And according to you, when you got there, the incident was over.
Yes, Mr.
There
Chairman.
was peace.
There was peace, and they were in queue
And
voting.
voting was continuing.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Now, with regard to the shooting incident, did you get any information about the shooting incident that took place near the residence of the NDC parliamentary candidate?
Mr. Chairman, all that I was told was that it was a SWAT people who came to the place and there was shooting. SWAT people came to the place and there was shooting. That was what I was told.
So there has been no report of that incident to you?
No, my lord, officially no. But like I said, because the IDP tasked the regional CID to investigate the whole matter, it has left our domain, put it that way, not our domain, into the domain of the national CID.
This commission hopefully will be hearing from the IGP, but I wanted to find out from you, what's your recommendation about collaboration between the Ghana Police Force as well as the National Security Team? It seems to me from your evidence that these two agencies operate independently.
I would suggest that any discussions or in situations where they will want their SWAT team or their other team to participate, there should be a roundtable conference so that we plan the whole exercise together. So that everybody will know who is to do what, who is to take part, and all that. So there must be good collaboration between national security and the regular police, so that the time may come, some duties may not even be performed by the national security team, but by the regular police.
And has it come to your notice also that the national security had intelligence about the existence of weapons at the house of at a location near the polling station, and that is what led to the operation which they embarked upon on the 31st of January? Have that information come to your notice?
Mr. Chairman, that information has come to my notice like through radio discussions, through TV discussions, but not as official, through the discussions. We have been monitoring, we are also listening to them.
So if the national security apparatus gets intelligence information, are you saying they don't share that information with you? Especially in a situation like on the 31st January when the operation was going to take place very close, about 140 meters to one of the polling stations.
No, Mr. Chairman, we have no such information from any quarters.
Thank you very much, DCOP. A few questions for clarification. You said you had meetings before the election with immigration and so on, but you don't mention the EC.
Madam, the EC, I had discussions with the Accra Regional Electoral Officer, who is by name Mr. Amwa, but not the national headquarters. Mr. Amwa of the Regional Electoral Office is the Regional Electoral Officer. I have meetings with him, and it was through whom that I got to know the number of polling stations in the Ayawaso West Wokon constituency.
Are you aware that running the election is the mandate of the EC, and so they should have had strategic oversight over the arrangements you are making?
Madam, Mr. Chairman, like I said in national elections, it is the duty of the national headquarters, and the duty is trickling down. But when it became a by-election, it became the duty of the regional commander. So in this by-election, it was, as I was told, the duty of the regional electoral officer, unlike the general elections, which we could, that is headquarters, could have liaised with the national headquarters of the electoral commission. That is why I had meeting with the regional electoral officer by name Mr. Amwa.
Okay, at your operational level, I can't fault you for doing that. Perhaps the error came from higher up the police echelons than your level. But I saw on your operational order that the Accra Regional Command was to determine some matters after consultative meetings with EC officials and other stakeholders within their jurisdiction. Did this happen?
So the EC official is the regional one, not the national one.
You said that you sent a message to ASP George Asari to report at 0500 hours to lead a patrol.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And this was at 9:57 a.m. or p.m.?
PM.
And to send the vehicle of the district command.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, let me put in this document, which was a message which was sent to all the divisional, district, and unit commanders to bring in their pickups for the operation. So it was not to him alone, but for all the divisional and unit and the district commanders, the vehicle.
And was this order before the SMS message you sent?
This was the order, and this was a follow-up.
Okay, so it was. I wanted to check whether he received the message and didn't show up, or whether he didn't, because you said he didn't respond.
There was no response, but one other officer responded. For him, I wouldn't know why.
So I wanted to know whether the order to bring the vehicles was given at the same time so that I'd be able to come to some conclusion. Okay. You said when you were on your way to East Legon, after you heard of the incident, you contacted the district commander.
He called me.
He called you, and he said he was on his way to hospital with his child.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Is this normal procedure that when there's been a crisis in the place, the commander of the place will have the time off to pursue domestic obligations?
Mr. Chairman, when I got there, I met the divisional commander, so I wouldn't know whether he had taken permission from the divisional commander, but I wouldn't know. But I met the divisional commander in his office.
But is this normal procedure in a crisis?
That isn't.
It is not.
No, that is not.
But you did not query the situation.
No, because I met the division commander, I thought he might have been in contact with him because the division commander was in the district commander's office.
Okay. So you talked about electoral security and your view of it as people who are minded to vote, being able to go and vote safely and so on. Is this not too narrow a view of electoral security?
Mr. Chairman, it includes the protection of all electoral materials. It includes the electoral officers. But I answered based on the question that was posed. It's not only the only thing that security is provided for in a day.
Now, do you think is the absence of official protection for the candidates of all kinds? I mean, in this situation, it was a by-election. But do you think it's a lack of protection for political candidates for office that may account for their need to make their own private security arrangements?
Mr. Chairman, in general elections, some candidates come for security, others we try providing and they don't accept. So it depends on the persons. Whoever says that he needs, we try and protect.
But if he says he doesn't need because he doesn't know it is available,
I don't know. But we have been providing in general ones because we have meetings with all party heads. And on the 30th, we also have meeting with all the other political parties who were taking part in the by-elections. Their concerns, they put it forward, but none of them made any appeal for security for any of the candidates.
what would be your reaction to a suggestion that this should be standard operating procedure? That when candidates have filed their papers and they've been accepted formally by the EC as candidates, that they ought to be provided security?
I think going forward, it will be a valuable idea.
Okay. Now, as a senior police officer, a seasoned one at that, would you say that the SWAT unit based at national security is adequately led by an ASP or DSP without any more control from the senior hierarchy of the police service?
Maybe I will suggest a senior officer to be in charge of them, if there's still the need to retain them there.
That's a separate question. I'm asking, as things stand, do you think being led at that level by an ASP or a recently promoted DSP is adequate?
No, I think not.
Okay. And these people take their instructions from a colonel, I understand, who has no training in internal security. Do you think this arrangement ought to remain?
I don't know that one, but policemen take instructions from a military man. About police matters, I think not.
Very helpful, thank you. You talked about the IGP making it clear to the political parties that they should disband their groups.
Yes,
Do you think the IGP's call by itself will do it, or there needs to be legislation?
I don't think that the call alone will do it, because from what you also heard on the radio about what happened in Kumasi yesterday, I don't think that the call alone, unless there's the will, there will be. But if the will is not there, then we have to acknowledge it. In that case, legislation will be the solution.
So you are that if we do not criminalize it, it will happen.
It will do.
You said also, as part of the reasons you are giving, your opinion of why this happens, that it's a means of income for some of these boys, were your words. I'm floating a thought past you. How would you react to a suggestion that the escort police unit that used to exist, which the British used to solve the problem of illiterate people who had been sent to war and who had learned to shoot and so on, coming back home and being demobilized? How would you react to a suggestion that perhaps this unit can be brought back so that people who do not have proper qualifications as the police require now, but who can be involved in law enforcement and trained and supervised properly, can function under the wing of the police?
Mr. Chama, if they will not come and be the same as we found ourselves today, they will not have the requisite qualification that is required by the police. But if they get into the police service and they get, let me excuse my words, they get infested by the police, I think they will behave the same way the policeman who has the requisite qualification behaves. So in that case, I don't think that it will have solved the problem.
Okay, so if they don't have an income and there's work for them to do from whichever quarter, the laws of economics will apply, won't they? There will be a demand. There will be a supply because there's a demand.
Yeah, that is the case. Anytime there's demand, anytime you have supply, and anytime there's supply, there will be the demand for.
So is it possible for us to take a broader view of these matters and take the matter in hand instead of just preaching that they should be disbanded?
Mr. Chama, I think so. There needs to be a broader and wider consultation to find the best way out.
You said of the district commander, if he had reported, we would have deployed him, but he did not come, or something like that.
Yeah, that is so. That is why when he called me, I assigned him that he should go and see to the situation.
And he went.
Yes, he went. He told me. But before then, he has already been there, because that's why he was able to tell me that there was that situation. And but when I told him that I'm on the way to the place, he reported back to me that he was on his way to send his child to the hospital.
He was here and he said he was going to vote. Do you think there's some disciplinary issue there?
That he said he was going to vote?
No, people have been asked to report at 5 a.m. to be deployed. They don't show up. There's a gap in the security, isn't it?
Yeah, there is.
And no disciplinary action will flow?
Madam, Mr. Chairman, we need to find out if he did perform the work at the place, then that will be okay. But if he did, that is, if he took part, but if it happens that he never took part, then that's why I've been a misconduct. But if he did take part, and even though he was to be assigned a place, by having taken part in that other side of the duties, I think that may be okay.
Isn't that why discipline is going down in the police service, sir? People
Mr.
can
Chairman,
do
discipline-
whatever they want as long as they show up sometime. It's okay.
Mr. Chairman, this pay may be going down in the service and maybe elsewhere, depending on many number of factors. Maybe not based on one factor. But I will not subscribe to it that when you give instructions, it should not be complied with. No.
Thank you.
Regional Commander. Let me pick up from where Madam left before I count my own. Now, you said, Mr. Sari told us that he was going to vote, but he told you that he was taking his child to hospital.
That's Mr. Chairman.
So from the time he told you that, what time would this be? You spoke to you on phone. Was it on phone?
It was on the phone.
Yeah, what time? Roughly.
The chairman, it was in the morning around maybe about 9:30 there about. It was still in the morning.
That was the time you at the station. You went
Yes.
to the station
Yes, I was on the way to the station.
and you called him.
He called me.
He called you. At that time, had the incident at the candidate's place, had it subsided? Was there calm?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, when I got there and went to the place with the divisional commander, the place looked like nothing was happening. So there was calm.
And at that point or thereafter, have you been told about who brought the situation under control?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Can you find out for us? After today's, you have to investigate and find out for us. Because according to him, it was he who went there and brought the situation under control. And then he said he was going to vote after he had brought the situation under control. And when, at that period, further assistance was coming from the regional operations people. So we want to know exactly what his role was on that day, where he was, with timelines.
Mr. Chairman, I would not believe.
No, I'm saying that you have to investigate this and the commission will call you. So please, you and your divisional commander, you have to investigate. Because you cannot have two stories. I'm going to the hospital with my child. I was at the place to calm down things using my tact and diplomacy. Then I went to vote. The commission was not told that he had to attend the hospital with his child. So we must know exactly what happened. So please, you should have investigated this by now, isn't it? Because he didn't respond to the signal to come to be deployed, did he?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Was the vehicle from, sorry. Was the vehicle from East Legon District, was it brought to the regional headquarters as the signal said? The vehicle, do you know whether it?
Mr. Chairman, the vehicle was brought.
Who brought it? Do you know?
His driver.
His driver.
It was the drivers of the vehicles.
Oh, okay. So the drivers were.
The drivers were
by
expected to
regional
bring the vehicles, and they brought the vehicles.
And when you are investigating his movements, find out on which vehicle he proceeded to the scene of the incident to calm the situation.
Mr. Chairman, as for that one, it was another vehicle because they have a pickup.
No,
They
but
have
you
a
have to
Toyota.
know whether he went to the scene and on which vehicle. Now, how many other vehicles are allotted to the district?
They have 2 pickups, one is down, one is working, and they have a Toyota Corolla vehicle.
2 pickups.
One is down,
One is on.
I have one Toyota Corolla.
So active, 1 pickup and 1 Toyota,
Yes,
such as the one that was sent to regional headquarters.
that is the one that was bought. The
All the other districts brought their
they bought.
vehicles to be used. Now, on the day of election, you said you first heard of the incident on the radio. Sorry, I mean national. One of the national radio stations, isn't it, or one of the national FM
Stations.
and also later through the police system. Now, ideally, every police officer or all the other security officers at polling stations on election day should have state-supplied radio set, ideally.
Ideally, yes, but that wasn't the case.
No, hold on. Ideally, all of them should have, isn't it?
That's it.
Yes, I know they don't have. And even if they had, if something happened at a particular point, they would report first to the senior officer in charge of that group. You divide the electoral areas into groups, isn't it?
That's it.
And there's a senior officer, whether ASP or DSP, in charge of one electoral group, isn't it?
That's it.
And so even if the men had, the men and women of the security services, they will report to somebody who is their immediate superior, isn't it?
That's so.
And that somebody will then relate to the regional operations officer before it gets to you.
That's so.
Or if there is no particular officer and the person has to report, the person would report to the district commander in charge of the place, isn't it?
That's so.
And then it will be reported to the regional operations officer or to you. And this would take some, at the least, 2 to 3 minutes, isn't it?
That's so.
So the live feed that we all get during elections and indeed all events, inauguration of president, football matches, the live feed that we all get from the FMs and the TV stations, the private ones and the state ones, are faster. You get reports faster.
That's so.
And they have to be investigated. Whether the reports are true or not, whether they are exaggerated or not, whether they are distortions. Once you hear something from the media, they have to be investigated.
That's so.
So we all owe a debt of gratitude to the Ghanaian media for the work that they do for this. So are you going to thank them officially? Have you written to thank them?
We will not write, but you appreciate them. So thank you very much.
Have you been hearing what is happening here from their reports? Do you listen to them?
No, not every of the sitting, not every sitting, because I've been out, and so I miss a lot of them.
Okay. Now here we are with election security. Well, as you say, if there is a national election, first of all, the National Election Security Committee is activated.
Yes, Mr.
They will meet, they will plan budget, then they will inform the regions to form theirs. The regions will meet, plan the budget, then they will inform the districts. So it's a rather laborious and slow process, public service. So when you have a by-election, and you have only 3 or 4 weeks, it's faster to have closer coordination with your regional electoral officer, your regional, the district or rest members, isn't it?
That's so.
And then you draw an operational data based on that.
That's so.
How many meetings did you have with the regional electoral officer?
I think 3 meetings.
And was he aware of our general deployment, the security services?
No, like people we were going to deploy at every police station, he wasn't. But we gave him the total number of the personnel that we were going to deploy for the elections.
maybe next time it would be better if you met him for specific discussion on the deployment at the various polling stations. Because normally, you know, we have information about what we think may be a flashpoint, isn't it?
That's so.
And they also have information.
That's so. He indicated it to us.
Yes. So if you have a general meeting after the letters are written, then it's better for them to have an idea of how many security men are at a particular place. But having said that, when you get assistance from any of the other security services, in this case, immigration,
That's all.
and you planned where people are supposed to be, isn't it?
Yes, that's all.
And the uniform personnel from all the services are in uniform.
The way, their proper uniforms.
And in all normal operations, the CID and the special branch and the military intelligence will deploy their own, and they are not in uniform.
That's all.
But they do as the courtesy of letting us know that we will have people on the ground.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
And therefore, if any other person was going to deploy people in uniform, if any other person or agency was going to deploy persons in uniform to assist or to engage in some other operation of national importance, it would be useful if the regional command is hinted in some way, so that if the public complain that they've seen people in some uniform, you would know, and you would inform Director General Operations, isn't it?
That's all.
And if such persons are going to be in uniform, we have to know, that is, you have to know, the police hierarchy has to know, the Ghanaian people have to know that if you see somebody in, apart from police and immigration and any other, if you see somebody, let's say, in a yellow trousers and a green shirt with some inscription, it is official, isn't it?
That's all.
If you were a member of the public and you saw somebody in khaki trousers and a black t-shirt with some inscription, if you are not literate, you cannot read what is there at the back of it, isn't it?
That's it.
What do they write at the back? Or what did this particular group write at the back of their? Have you seen one of them, the t-shirts?
I think it was what or EC. Oh, sorry.
No, not the easy one. I mean the personnel who were supposed to have been deployed working with the SWAT team.
NSC.
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 I mean, another member of the public, what would you expect them to?
But they will not know what
They
it
will not
means.
know. Even the personnel from the police and the immigration, unless they've been told, would most of them know what NSC means?
No. Either they mean National Sports Council or whatever.
Or something?
Yes.
Yes.
They don't know.
Or national what? Something else.
So that is important.
It's important that there is this coordination and that the public, because the public knows that the state is authorized to produce law enforcement agencies, isn't it?
That's all.
And there are rules governing these agencies. And every regional commander should know the rules. And every regional security committee, district security committee should know the rules governing the private security agencies. You know them, don't you?
Yes, we know.
You know the uniforms they wear.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, when you went to the scene of the incident, you also visited the police station.
Yes, I did.
It's said to have been at some school.
That was so.
Did you observe the environment at the police station carefully?
Not very well because I didn't process the scene. I only observed what was there.
did you see any bullet holes in any of the buildings around that police station?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, at the corner of the wall of the school.
That school. What's the name of the school?
Bawaleshi, is it LA12?
1, 2.
There were some holes which people have gathered around, and they were saying that it will not bore her. So I also went and
Looked at it.
I look at it.
Can you please give us some description? You got to the place, this school. Where were the electoral officers? Let's say, use this room as.
The school is like a curve, like C shape.
Okay.
So the electoral officers were sitting in the middle, like where my ladies are sitting.
They are not your ladies.
Thank you, sir.
The chairman.
Chairman's lady. Thank you, sir. So at the extreme left.
So they are here.
They are here. So at the extreme left.
Your left or their left?
My left.
So somewhere left. Around where
the air condition is.
You saw that wall?
Yeah, that is the wall. And there were some marks.
Uh-huh.
In the line.
About
at the edge.
About how many? Yes, please come and demonstrate.
They were just like this, lined up like this.
Uh-huh.
At the corner. So that was what people had gathered around, and they were looking at. I also went to look at it.
And he said the public were saying that a tune people.
A tune, to go ha,
and when they say to go, it means some persons were firing in that vicinity. I mean, in the area of.
From what they said, it was true. Yeah,
yes.
That was true.
And it wasn't at the house of the candidate.
Not alone. Not at the place alone.
No. But this particular one that you saw, it wasn't at the house of the candidate.
No, Mr.
Where
Chairman.
the main action took place. Where the main action took place.
Yeah, where the main action took place.
Apart from that wall, this is so. It's about how many meters from where the election officials were? The wall.
Just about from the wall to the other end.
To the other end.
Yes.
Those of you who passed their SS maths, would that be about 30 meters? Somebody said yes. How much did you get in maths? Yes, but I think about 30 meters. And it's not only that wall. You were saying that it's not only that wall.
No, that is what I saw at the school.
Okay.
But at the scene, the other scene, that is the candidate's house.
I'll come to that. I'm more worried about.
No, other for the place, that was the only place the people have gathered, and I also went and.
Did you check out from anyone of the or the electoral officials whether at the time those things hit the wall, they were there, or they?
But they were there.
They were there.
They were there. The voting has started.
So did they say that they ran away?
No, they didn't run away.
They were there.
They were there.
And when you inspected, you are not a ballistic expert, I know, but when you inspected from your police experience, what did they look like, those holes?
It was a little deep, but they were very small. And they counted were about 7 or so.
Did they look like bullet holes?
Yeah, they look like that.
Are you aware whether the crime scene team has since gone to inspect?
I was there with them.
With them, okay.
So when they were inspecting, I also, out of curiosity, got closer.
No, not out of curiosity. You are the commander. It's your territories. So out of duty, yes. And so they might have taken shots, either video shots or.
Yes, they will have processed it.
Processed it. Okay, that's fine. I was wasting time on it because this is the first time somebody has told us about those things. You know, everybody came here, including the electoral officials. They said there was no violence at the place. It was calm people, so there was no violence. And they are that close to human beings. Then at the candidate's house, yes, did you observe any?
Yeah, that is where the container stand. It is in front.
What sort of container? Yes. Okay, before we come to that, Madam is asking whether the children were in school that day. They were not on holiday.
Yes, but it wasn't a holiday. It wasn't.
By the time these shots or whatever it is hit the walls, personally, the students, the pupils were in school.
So I think I've forgotten
What
that.
happened?
I thought they were not in school, but I've forgotten.
Please inform the CID investigators. Maybe they haven't got this information was for them to check up from the teachers. Whether I'm sure the marks are still there. Whether at the time that those marks that you see the crime scene people took notice, the peoples were in school. Now, as you said, at the candidate's house, there is some kiosk.
It's a metal container.
Is it a big one or one of these?
No, it's a big one. Which I think is a hairdresser's salon.
Somebody's salon.
Yes.
Did you see any such marks?
Yeah, there is. I saw one.
One.
Yeah, downstairs.
One.
One.
On
the container.
the container.
A hole. It
The
had
hole.
a hole, yes.
I see. At the time you went there, were the hairdressing there?
No, they were not in the container.
They had probably escaped.
Yes.
Tell the CID people to locate them and find out whether they were there when that hole, so that they can tell us what was somebody's foot or it was a gunshot and what they did before and after that hole was probably discovered. Then at the candidate's house, the gate, did you see any such?
No, I didn't notice anything.
Anything? Were you allowed into the house?
No.
At the time you went, there was peace.
There was peace.
Was the candidate around at all?
No,
He wasn't.
no,
You were told he was not around.
at all.
Were there any private security guards around?
I didn't observe any.
Was there any police patrol guard at that time?
No, there was no patrol. Policeman around the place, no,
At that time?
at that time.
Were you with the original operations officer? Or he came later?
But the regional operation officer was there. So together with him, we went around.
Okay, so
Yes.
you inspected.
Chief Superintendent Kosifoli was already there.
And you didn't see any other marks on the candidate's wall?
I didn't watch well.
Okay. Before you left, did you make any arrangements for security at that house?
So there was nothing at that time to indicate that there was, because the violence was far over. And I didn't see people in the house, but around, because people have heard of it and they have come to see what was happening.
Okay. Now, since the regional security command is in charge of security on the election day, would you expect that if any other agency heard anything about electoral misdemeanors or suspected that some people could be planning to cause trial violence, would you expect that agency to inform the police?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Did the SWAT team inform any of your officers that they have seen some 15 people on motorbikes that they suspect that they may be?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Did any of your officers report that the 15 people on motorbike caused any problems for any of the electoral officials?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
No, Mr. Chairman.
Have you heard about the 15 on a bike at all?
I haven't.
You haven't heard about that?
No.
That there were some 15 people who came on a bike
No, Mr. Chairman.
to that place. Please speak to your officers and find out. That's the information we are being given. That some 15 people on a bike came, and if some people have mentioned some names of some members of parliament who were alleged to, they were alleged to have been in a vehicle, and then the people were on a motorbike. 15 motorbikes, yes. And the council, I don't know, do you remember the names of the MPs that somebody said were in a vehicle? I remember they mentioned Honorable Kovandopoy. Honorable Sam George, yes. And the women's organizer of the NDC, I think they said deputy or the organizer. Deputy women's organizer. None of your officers has reported that to you.
No, that these people were riding the motorbikes.
No, that the motor were coming, but that these honorable members of parliament were in a 4x4 vehicle with them.
No, I haven't.
Okay, thank you very much. But I would like you to find out what I said you should find out, so that at a later date you can
I will do.
brief it. Yes.
Yosip, thank you very much for your testimony. You may leave now.